While the first Ratchet Clank game was well received, it wasn't a perfect game. One of the biggest criticisms levelled at it was that the lead character seemed too much like a teenager, which is kind of ironic since he actually was a teenager. There were other flaws as well, and so when it came time to making a sequel, it suddenly took all of these remarks to heart and made a game that dealt with nearly all of them. Plot-wise, not much has been happening at all for Ratchet and Clank. It's been nearly a year since their previous adventure, as it was in real life, when suddenly they're plucked from their humdrum life and given a whole new galaxy to save, courtesy of the CEO of Megacorp, Mr. Fizzwidget. Their task? Recover a Protopet, a dangerous prototype stolen from Megacorp that could cause untold damage if not recovered. But neither the Protopet nor the thief are what they seem. And despite a strong start, the story quickly unravels and ends up as a complete mess. The title characters have evolved and become more mature, while still being goofy and wacky, but the overall plot and the twists contained within make little sense. It's obvious that one character in particular was forced into the story at the last minute. As a result, the plot jumps all over the place and it's impossible to take seriously. Fortunately, the humour that was evident in the first game is back with a vengeance, and it does help to cover up a lot of the plot's failings. From the title screen, with Ratchet actually playing his new and old adventures, and little Jak and Daxter as well, through to the random but brilliant reappearance of the plumber, the game builds upon the slightly silly style of the first game and develops it into full-blown self-parody, with even the lead characters making fun of all the cliches that crop up.
Alright, just what the f*** is going on?
Also vastly improved are the controls, which, as well as being significantly tightened, make use of the strafing system that's basically standard for all third-person shooters these days. This makes the game feel so much more refined, taking a step away from being a platformer with shooting bits thrown in, to a shooter with platforming elements. It really does feel like a proper action title now, with all the benefits that brings, such as full-on combat areas where skilled players can earn plenty of money. And speaking of combat, the weapons have received an upgrade as well, with an even more inspired selection of death-dealing devices to choose from. The mini nuke launcher, the lava gun, and the black sheepinator are some of the more memorable tools you'll use to destroy everything in your path, though you'll also encounter some of the more entertaining guns from the previous game as well. Another major improvement over the previous game is that of health and weapon upgrades. Each time you kill an enemy, the weapon you killed them with will gain experience, as will you. Once a weapon accumulates enough experience, it upgrades into a more powerful version of itself, and when you gain enough experience, your maximum health increases. While this ability does add a certain amount of tactical leeway to the game, it is somewhat hampered by the fact that weapons are still expensive to purchase, and that they only level up once. Twice if you count the additional upgraded versions available in the returning New Game Plus style Challenge Mode. As in the first game, Challenge Mode lets you restart the game from the beginning with all of your guns and money. While there was little else to make you want to do so in the original game, making use of the mode in Going Commando provides players with an actual challenge. The enemies are tougher, there are additional weapon upgrades, and there's a bolt multiplier, which increases when you kill enemies without taking damage. And the higher the multiplier, the more money you get. It's a great way to really add replayability to the game. The first game may have encouraged you to play through it a second time, but this one encourages you to play through it again and again, and you'll actually want to as well. Skill points return as well, although this time they're much more forgiving. You may even end up getting some without even realising it. There's other collectibles as well, including some very well hidden health upgrades and platinum bolts, but if you're a dedicated explorer, chances are you'll stumble across most of those as well. Overall, Going Commando does almost everything a good sequel should. With the exception of the absurd plot, it's a drastic improvement upon the original game, and the additions do nothing but improve the game further still. And while it is definitely a step back for the PS3 games, this was a major evolution for the PS2 ones, and it remains a great follow-up to the original game. If you can ignore the silly plot, there's an awful lot to like about this one. It's not the best PS2 Ratchet & Clank game out there, but it's certainly an entertaining experience.